Fresh meat.
Hey guys, how we doing? Thank you for joining the JoBlo Movie Network for another episode of Show Me the Sequel. In today's episode, we'll explore a modern Halloween classic that many have been wanting a sequel to, including its director. Having been released in 2007, it was one of the first few of a new wave of anthology horror films, including ABC's A Death, VHS, Southbound, All Hallows Eve, and a personal favorite of mine, Tales of Halloween. Trick or Treat became a classic the second it hit the screens, for many reasons, and those who have seen it can attest. The film opens on a PSA about Halloween and then goes directly to a jack-o'-lantern with a lit smile, setting the tone. We get the beautiful setting of Halloween, trick-or-treaters, and then Emma and Henry come home from partying, as she wants to clean up the yard right away, which, no. But he explains about why you should leave a pumpkin lit to protect yourself. Someone is watching through a mask. She goes on to clean after, sending him in to watch the video until she gets in. Yet she's still being watched. Cut to Henry watching the porn. Emma gets attacked and killed. He wakes up, a little afterwards nap I guess, goes looking for her and finds her head with a pumpkin-shaped broken lollipop stuck in her mouth. I want to thank you guys for watching Show Me the Sequel and ask that if you enjoy our shows, please subscribe to our channel right now. Like this video and click on the bell so you can be notified each time a new video goes up. And now, back to the show. Credits start. Comic book pages with bits of story throughout. Plenty of spoilers here. Cut to the town center with people partying in costumes, a giant celebration, and a news anchor reporting on the festivities. Then, college ladies shopping for sexy costumes with plenty of girl talk. We move to a kid knocking over jack-o'-lanterns, going house to house until his last one, and not respecting the take only one sign. But he gets caught by a school principal, Mr. Wilkins, and they sit and talk. Now back to the students. More girl talk. They're getting ready for their party, through the town square, looking for dates. Back to the Wilkins and kid. They talk and start carving pumpkins. The kid is giving a chocolate bar, which makes him vomit profusely. Great scene. And the kid gets dragged into the house. More trick-or-treaters show up, ask for a jack-o'-lantern, for a good cause this time. Sam shows up and is given candy. We cut back to the girls who meet up, then Lori, Little Red Riding Hood, splits off to find her own date. Cut back to Wilkins, who is busy burying the teen, while his kid yells for attention. Then the neighbor's dog gets noisy. The old man next door does too. There is a bit of a struggle as the teen isn't fully dead yet, but Wilkins finishes the job, goes back inside to join his kid, as the old man next door screams for help inside his house. Mr. Wilkins goes to the basement with his kid out of costume, and they go to carve a jack-o'-lantern. It looks grim for the kid, but we cut to a human head on the table. Now back to the iffy trick-or-treaters. They stop by a house where a very adult party is going on, get some candy, meet a friend, and head to a house covered in jack-o'-lanterns, where they meet with a kid dressed as a witch who has made every single one of them. Back to the town square, a couple is making out in an alley. The man bites her. It gets bloody. She runs to the square, tries to get help, but is ignored by the couple from the start of the film, and she is killed. Kids with the pumpkins, they tell stories of Halloween, including that of special needs kids on a bus who are sent to be killed by the driver. And as they're telling this story, Sam, the one in the mask, is there watching. The group goes down to where the bus fell to make an offering to the dead kids with lit pumpkins. Cut back to Lori, who is in town looking for a date. Her sister calls, but Lori doesn't want to go to the party alone. We cut back to the kids. They are making their way down to the bus. Some of them are mean and play a prank on the witch kid, scaring her badly. She gets hurt. There's infighting within the mean kids group. But then we hear spooky voices and chains grabbing the mean kids. Being the smartest one there, the witch kid leaves without them. Begging and screaming below. They're dying. Once at top, Sam lets the witch kid pass and goes to see what's going on. Cut back to Lori. She's being followed by the vampire, the one who was making out and killed the girl earlier. He catches up to Lori and bites her. A red-capped bundle lands in the party. The vampire is fake. It's Wilkins, and Lori is nervous. It's her first time. She straddles him. Everyone around undresses. They're werewolves. And she wolfs out in the sexiest way. Sam is watching. Back to earlier, the old man, Mr. Krieg, is home. Trick-or-treaters come by and he wants them gone. Inside, he's burning photos. He sits down, and there's a creaking. It's the gate. The dog goes outside. Someone is watching from behind a mask. Now, that same scene as earlier on the other side, Wilkins is in the other yard. Now we're back inside, something is running upstairs. It's Sam. Krieg goes to investigate, ends up in a battle with Sam, which is pretty epic actually, with Sam stabbing Krieg and with Krieg eventually shooting Sam, leading to pumpkin guts everywhere. During this fight, the mask is torn off. Sam's face is revealed and it's glorious. When Krieg thinks he's won, he calls 911. The line is yanked. Not so fast. The battle picks back up, Sam masks back up, eventually getting his signature lollipop. He stabs his opponent, but hits candy, which is then given to him, so he leaves peacefully. We cut to the photos in the fireplace, and they are shown that Krieg was a school bus driver who was the one that killed the kids. Thinking he's escaped death, the last bit of trick-or-treaters come to Krieg's house, and he's more than glad to give them candy. The witch kid is heading home, then back to the opening sequence couple, having the same conversation. The masked being watching them is Sam, who heads over to their house to put the wrong things right. Mr. Krieg gets another knock at the door. This time, it's the kids from the bus. Cut to black, more comic book images, roll credits. Trick or Treat is a film that was originally slated for release in 2007, and after much back and forth and broken promises to those looking forward to it, it eventually made its way to DVD for Halloween 2009. Given this 2-year delay, some wondered what was wrong with it. Why was it put on the shelf? But anyone who has seen it can honestly say, this was clearly a mistake on the company's end and not the movie's. Based on a short film, Season's Greetings by Michael Dougherty, Trick or Treat is chock full of nods to other horror flicks, such as Laurie being named after Laurie Strode from Halloween, Mr. Krieg's look being based off of Halloween and The Thing. A Plymouth Fury from Christine can be seen in The Quarry. The same actor who played the great child in 13 Ghosts shows up dressed as a baby. There's a nod to The Howling, the great pumpkin Charlie Brown is referenced in the bus story, House on Haunted Hill plays on the television at Mr. Krieg's house. Trick or Treat is one of the most successful takes on the anthology subgenre in horror, successfully mixing 5 stories into one, crossing the characters and storylines back and forth in a non-linear way, which, to do right, is no small feat. Michael Dougherty had never written or directed a feature before Trick or Treat. Which is almost shocking considered the quality. However, it's clear from this film that he has talent. Since this one he's directed 2 feature films, The Amazing Krampus and Godzilla King of the Monsters. As a writer, Dougherty has written a whole lot more. X2, X-Men United, one of the best of the OG, Superman Returns, he wrote the story for X-Men Apocalypse, and Godzilla vs. Kong. Now, fans will have to admit that these are not all excellent in themselves, but it's definitely been entertaining, or the very least interesting. But besides these, he's dwelled in the Trick or Treat universe a bit more, and has had his name attached to a potential Hellraiser TV series. And Trick or Treat has been rumored for years to get a sequel, and now a TV series is supposed to be in development. Besides the horror film references found throughout Trick or Treat, another fun part of the film are the special effects. With a decent-sized budget of $12 million, we got lucky in that these effects were in a large part practical, with only a few scenes using digital enhancements. Now, once upon a time, FX master Rick Baker was attached to do the effects and direct part of Trick or Treat. This was shelved and later became the version we have today. A fun trick is used in the scene where Emma's head is discovered. Here a pot of boiling blood was kept on hand so that it could create steam. This blood is said to have been more edible with a mint chocolate flavor. More on the edible side, the scene where the teen boy vomits profusely, that was also a nicely flavored edible concoction. A less obvious film trick is that the majority of the pumpkins seen here are foam or ceramic. Of course, they would not rot or get damaged easily. Now, this led people to claim that no pumpkins were harmed in the making of this movie. Trick or Treat is a modern Halloween classic for a reason. It has it all: violence, horror, spooky moments, gratuities, aka gracious poops, and just so much blood, candy, and pumpkins. It feels just like every other Halloween anthology movie wants to be. Trick or Treat embodies Halloween better than every other one. It's a fun story that's also complex enough to stand up to the test of time and the test of many rewatches. And this is the kind of flick that fans have been wanting more of. It's even the kind of film that even casual horror watchers put on their must-watch list in October every single year. The acting's good and has a cast of familiar faces that are fun to watch and proceed through the insanity. The fact that the timeline is non-linear works for the film and keeps some mystery about it. Once the film is over, it can be watched again right then just to see the little details you missed. It's clear that Dougherty knows his horror and isn't afraid to show it with plenty of references, which is a little extra on top of the candy pile. Trick or Treat pulls the viewer in from the very start with its Halloween PSA and doesn't let go until the very last scene. There's been talk of a sequel to Trick or Treat for years now, and with everything else getting 1 or 4 and a TV series, what's the wait on this one? So as we all wait on the sequel that has been announced many times, here's our take on what that should look like. Set some years later, same town, as it's well established, and seems to have a good group of Halloween-loving people. The film opens on Halloween Eve, with the little witch Rhonda, fully grown. Same actress as her first film, is now 10 years older. She's getting ready for Halloween, carving pumpkins and telling her little sister about all the town's legends, including Sam's. As she tells the story, running is heard above their heads, and they both look up with a smile. Sam has joined them for the season. The following night, October 31st, Mr. Wilkins' son is getting ready for Halloween. He's a teenager now, going trick-or-treating with a few goodies up his sleeve. He's planning on keeping up with the family tradition and carving their own kind of jack-o'-lanterns. Old Man Krieg is looking worse for wear as he tells little kids stories on his porch about the pumpkin child and how sharing your candy can save your life. Across town, a new family has moved in, and the dad is telling his kids a similar story, but with a very different boogeyman involved. A tall, menacing one who may be the perfect friend for young Sam. The first shot from inside Sam's mask shows people partying in skimpy outfits, trying to keep their kids to one area. The zombie kids join him. These are the bus kids. They're here to grab a few more bullies for their collection. And we cut back to Rhonda. Someone has smashed some of her pumpkins. She says, "Sam won't like that," and puts a few more out. Billy Wilkins, on the other hand, sets up a trap. Set in a yard haunt. Older kids are going to be out soon. Up to no good, of course. And he needs a new jack. Teen girls call up Rhonda. They have a party planned and they want her to join so she can tell that story of the quarry with all those kids who disappeared a few years back. Cut to the town square. Rhonda is shopping as she has passed a familiar tall boogeyman. They smile and keep going. She reaches Krieg's place and drops off some more candy for the man to give away. Waves at Billy, thumbs up on his home haunt as Billy is setting up a trap. The girls are seen scheming something to get Rhonda to join them. Also, they want boys to come over, so they start texting plenty. Cut back to Sam, watching them. Then to Krieg with a new group of kids. Rhonda decides to go for a walk. He invites them to come over to his haunt, and they decide to head over, and then they could stop by and mess with Rhonda. Sam watches over them. Rhonda sets up for the night, candy ready, classic horror on her screen. Perhaps something unusual like Lemora, and waits for the kids to come and knock. Sam walks by, she gives him a giant lollipop. Sam is ready. Over at Billy's, the girls arrive and go through his haunt. 2 of them get caught in the traps, 2 run out, and run away scared. They go straight to Rhonda's. She feeds them poison candy, his father's recipe, while telling them of traditions. While he does so, Sam lurks around the house. He's waiting for something. The girls are dispatched, buried, and their heads turned into jack-o'-lanterns, as per tradition. The other 2 who ran away go by Krieg's, and then to Rhonda's. They're scared. Rhonda decides to tell them about the past parts they've been missing. Parts of the first film are shown. They decide that hanging with Rhonda is the safest bet. Outside, the tall boogeyman lurks. He meets up with Sam at Billy's and is given some candy. Later, he lands at Krieg's, who has run out of candy. Krieg faces his fate bravely, ready to go to his death. Sam comes around and stops the boogeyman from killing Krieg, due to their history. Rhonda is telling more stories when Sam comes up to her place, boogeyman in tow. The 2 girls with her get scared, but Rhonda knows how to keep them both safe. Sam and the boogeyman, who turns out to be Sweet Tooth, a Tales of Halloween crossover. They all sit and eat candy a while, as the rest of the town parties and falls for more deaths. Cut to black. And that's it, folks. That is how we would do a Trick or Treat sequel and expand the universe by encompassing another great anthology. Hey, thanks for watching our show. Please subscribe to our JoBlo Horror Videos channel. Tell your friends who like this sort of content, and turn on the bell to receive notifications for all of our latest videos. Listen, we're an independent company, and we appreciate all of your support.